Hey guys, it's Wendy here with Wendy's Plans, and today we are going to talk about some things that I kind of figured out last minute or once I um, arrived at my first location traveling. And so I thought I would just kind of give you some things that I learned, things that you probably already remember, and hopefully you don't do like me and forget to do some of these things. So, guys, stick around. Alrighty, guys. So, first thing I want to talk to you about is change of address. So, if you are a full-time full-time traveler, you will need to make arrangements for your mail. Now, there are several companies that offer a mailing service, and they may work perfect for you. There are family members that you could send your mail to that will be willing to forward it to you when you get to different locations. But the one thing that most Airbnbs, especially hotels, are not going to do is accept mail for you. And so that is something that you need to figure out before you hit the road traveling. For me, I did a little bit of research and realized that a mailing service is going to work better for me because then I'm not relying on Christopher and Emma to have to gather my mail, keep it for me, send it to me whenever I get to a location, and having to forward me mail all the time because that can become costly. So the thing is, guys, we're dealing with my crooked glasses again. I never realized how crooked they were till I see myself in the thing. Um, but one of the things is if you go through a company that will forward your mail. Now, I'm not going to say out of all the companies that are out there that every company does this. The one that I selected, which is Traveling Mailbox, they will scan my envelope in. It comes into an email, and I can go in and look at the envelope and I can say, open it and scan the documents. Or if I know what it is and I really don't need it, I can say, shred it. There is multiple options on Traveling Mailbox. Another option they do is they'll deposit your check. They will forward my packages to me, or they will just shred it if it's not something I need. So the other thing I particularly liked about this company that kind of made the decision for me was that I don't have to change my state of my domiciliary state because this company offered a location in North Carolina. So the reason this was important for me is because I had just purchased a car in July, paid taxes, tags, all of that stuff. And if I changed my domiciliary state, then I would have to register and all of that again. And to me, the expense of doing that just didn't warrant going to a different state. So I kept my state of residency as North Carolina, and all my mail will go to a location in North Carolina. Now, when I get to a location, I can have the mail forwarded. For example, where I'm at now, the person that is managing this condo, because I am long-term stay right now, she said it's fine to have your mail forwarded to here. She said it's not a problem if you need packages shipped, use this address. There are more than not, the Airbnbs will tell you no, that they do not want you to use the address here as a mailing address. And I get that, guys. Um, they don't want everybody's bills coming to their residence. So, and I understand. So for me, this was the best way of handling my mail. And it doesn't put Emma and Christopher, out of their way to, and they were happy to do that. Let me just say that first and foremost. They were willing for me to use their address, but I felt like this would be the easiest way for both of us without them having to go out of their way um, to handle my mail. The second thing is don't forget to change your address on your banking account. I forwarded all my mail to the new mailing address. So that's not going to be an issue, but everything that I am having forwarded is also things that I will have the address changed on also, because as a full-time traveler, I really honestly only going to get in my mail, other than junk mail, should be information from my bank, from my credit cards, my car insurance, my car payment. That's it. Um, so it's not a big deal for me to change all of the addresses, but for whatever reason, I just did not think about my bank. And I placed an order with someone, and I actually wanted the order to go to Christopher and Emma's because I'm close enough now. I can just pick it up at their apartment. But when it asked, I changed the mailing address, and then that's when I saw billing address, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to leave it because it's got to match my cards and all that stuff. So when I went back up, I immediately went to the bank, changed my address there. I've changed on the other credit cards that I have, I changed the address for those also. So all of my addresses have been changed for anything that needs to come to me. Oh, the other thing, and I didn't even tell you about this, is that I'm one of those people that I don't carry a lot of cash with me, if I carry any at all. And so I feel like when you are traveling, you need to have a little bit. I'm not saying you need to keep hundreds and hundreds of dollars with you, but just in case you need to pull off real quick and grab a drink, or something like that, you're not always having to use your debit card. So I feel like having a little bit of cash with you makes sense. The next thing is book out at least 3 months is what my goal is to do. So I want to have plans in place that I know when I get here, I want to have a place to stay for 30 days. And I want that booked out as far as 3 months in advance. Right now, I am still here for February. I have booked, I'm sorry, from the end of February and March. And then my April has been booked. I'm working on booking a place for May, and then I need to get one for June. Now, I'm struggling with May and June because I'm not really sure where I want to go. I kind of have an idea, and in my heart, I think I know where I'm going, but I don't want to lock myself into some place and then think, oh, it would have been better to have gone here for this, time of the year. So I'm hoping to go ahead and get my May booked this month, and then next month have at least by the beginning of the month have my June booked. And the reason 3 months is my goal is, I'm fidgety today, guys. My goal is to come home at the end of 3 months and check on my mom and do all the things that I need to do for her. So for me, 3 months is ideal for me to book out. That's just the right amount of time before I'm going to be heading back to my home state. So my goal is to go out as far as I want to go and then kind of work my way back, if that makes any sense. I just feel like that makes more sense, that I'm not backtracking and, going crazy, different routes trying to get home. Um, the next thing is a travel plan. Guys, that ties in with booking out 3 months. So my travel plans are not just what state I'm going to be in. I had to sit down and say, from point A to point B, how many hours is that? And I know physically I could probably drive 8 hours a day. I don't want to drive 8 hours a day. So I broke my first trip into a partial day on the first day that I leave the condo that I'm at, which is March 31st, which always also coincides with Easter Sunday. So I will go and do Easter with my family, and then I will leave and drive 4 or 5 hours to my first location, stop, spend the night, get up and drive, I don't know, probably 6 hours, um, maybe seven, I don't know. And then the second half of the trip, I will make the rest of that drive to the location. So now I'm in the process of, I've booked my location, and now I'm looking at hotels that I can book 2 nights to spend the night, Sunday night and Monday night, and then finish my trip on Tuesday. So by planning your trip, you can say, I am going to drive X amount of hours. I'm going to have a hotel booked. I know, when I get there, I have a place to lay my head. And then the next day, I'm going to drive X amount of hours or miles or to this city. And if I choose to stop 2 or 3 times to see something, then that just means my day's longer. But it gives me options. And then the last day to make it to my last destination. So a travel plan is important so that you know how many miles, how many hours it takes driving, and how much you physically feel like you can do, so you can break it down. Another thing, some of these things, now I want to preface this to say, these can be used for just a vacation, or they can be used for a full-time traveler. It can be something you can pass to your kids when they're out traveling. When you leave, I don't care if it's a vacation or it is a full-time travel like I'm going to be doing, you need to have a trusted person that you can give your information to, so that somebody other than yourself knows where you're at, where you're going to be, so that anything happens, not necessarily just to you, but if something happens with a family member, or something happens in your state, or something happens, guys, things happen all the time, and we can't plan on those. So you need somebody that knows how to reach you, and you need to have somebody that if they don't hear from you in a few days, that they're questioning why they haven't heard from you. So for me, that trusted person is Christopher and Emma, and they will have everything from make, model, color, year of my car, my license tags, my driver's license number, my car insurance, my health insurance, my itinerary of what way I'm driving, where I'm staying, how to get in contact with me, all of these things, like the host name where I'm staying. Once I get to my location, they will have my address of that location, so that they know where I'm at all times. And if something were to happen to my mom, they can pick up the phone and say, Mom, you need to get here. Something's wrong with Grandma Judy, or whatever's going on. So I'm definitely going to leave them all of that information. Right now, I'm close enough to them. They know how to get here, and they know which way to go and all of that. So before I leave, they will have copies of my driver's license, electronic copies of my driver's license. I will send them the driving directions that I'm going to take. I will send them my reservations for the hotels that I book. They will have, once I have the street address for my Airbnb, they will have that. So everything that I can send to them electronically, I will. Um, my preference was to leave them hard copies of everything printed out, or I had a book that I could put everything in, but they prefer it electronically, and that's the way I'm going to do. Let's see. Make a realistic packing list. I cannot stress this enough. When I packed up my car, I packed stuff that I called it panic packing because I was like, but what if the Airbnb doesn't have this? What if the Airbnb doesn't have that? Why? And the other thing that I did was I packed 3 skirts and 1 dress and no dress shoes. Why? I don't know. I felt like I needed to take something in case I got somewhere and I needed to be dressed. Or if something happened and I needed to get home and I had to go to, a service or something like that, guys, they sell clothes all over the United States. What was I thinking? So I have already gone through all the clothes that I packed and reassessed what I need. So when I'm saying sit down and do a realistic packing list, when you think you know what you're going to take, write everything down. Everything that you feel like you need to pack. And kind of assess, do you really need it? This coincides with the other thing I'm going to tell you at the very end. It's very similar, but I will save those things for them. The next thing is, if you're like me, I like to send postcards when I travel. So anytime I've ever gone anywhere, whether it was to Ireland or Iceland or out west, I always sent a postcard. And I always send them to my Aunt Margie, and I always send it to my mom. And there's other people that I do too, but I always send it to them. I might not send it, depending on how long I'm going to be gone, to the other people, but you need addresses to do that. So make sure anybody that you need to send something to, that you have the addresses. For me, it's for postcards. And I'm going to be honest, that's all it is. It's just have an address so that I can send to my Aunt Margie and she can keep up with me, because she's not on the internet, looking at Facebook and all that stuff. So the only way she's going to know where I'm at and what I'm doing is if I tell her. So I will send her postcards. So make sure you have those if that's something you like to do. The other thing kind of goes with what I was just talking about. Sometimes it's better to buy something when you get there than to haul it to 5 different locations and then finally need it at that one place. So what I would suggest is, if you're on the fence about, I might need, for example, a dress, then don't pack it, because they sell stuff all over the United States. You can go to Walmart, Target, Macy's, all these stores you can go to, and you can find them all over the United States. They sell shoes and they sell dresses. If you need Ziploc bags, there's going to be somebody there that's going to have them. So all these things that I packed that I thought maybe I might use them, I have gone through and gotten rid of those, because the weight in my car is going to cause me to have less gas mileage. It's going to cause more wear and tear on my car with the weight. So for me, it's going to make more sense to carry what I know I'm going to use than to carry what I might need. So this first location that I'm at for 2 months is like an eye-opener to me, that realistically half the stuff that I packed, I really don't need. I've already given towels and linens to the kids. I have donated clothes. I have thrown stuff that just need to be thrown away. I threw it away, guys, because I can always go and buy it if I need it somewhere else. And chances are, if I don't have it, I'll make do with something else. So always remember, if you leave it, you can get it somewhere else. And I'm kind of that way when an Airbnb says they have shampoo and conditioner. I will use their shampoo and conditioner. I mean, it beats packing it. So if they tell me that that stuff is in their location, I'm not worried about making sure I have it when I leave. I knew this first location didn't, so I brought enough. I had bottles that were half full. So I was like, well, I'll just take those, because there's no point in me going out and buying full bottles, because I can buy it at any drugstore or store, department store, anywhere. Um, Accumulate ideas of what you want to see. This panned out recently for me, and I suggest this on any vacation, is to look in the area you're going, write a list of everything that even seems remotely interesting, even if you know there is 30 things listed and you're going to be there a week and you can't get to all of them. Make the list, because when you get there, you can pick and choose what you really want to do, and if you have time, you can do some of the others. So that's what I had done here. And me and Jan sat down and decided every day what we were going to do. And it's less stress. I don't feel like I'm rushing to get to somewhere else. We pretty much scheduled two things to do during the day, and then we either went out to dinner, we had dinner here, or we went to a concert, or we went to eat. We always had something to do at night. We would come back and regroup for a couple of hours and rest, and then we would go back out. So it was very useful to have all of these things listed to choose from. Um, Guys, don't overthink it. I do this a lot, and it is a hard habit to break. And I have talked about this before on my channel, that I have second guessed, am I doing the right thing? Is this truly what I want to do? When all of my furniture was out of my house, I really had a panic moment of, what are you doing, Wendy? You don't have furniture. All you have is your car. What are you thinking? But I do know that this is what I want to do. I do know that my goal has always been to do this, but there are people like me who overthink everything. And I didn't stop to think either that how Christopher's dealing with the emotion also, because, guys, he's lost his dad when he was in college. And now, for all intents and purposes, I'm not going to be right there. He has never been without me being right there. And so I didn't take into consideration how he was feeling. So it's not just yourself when you're full-time traveling that can overthink things. It's your loved ones too. So it is so easy to put fears in place where you really, you know, it's just human nature to fear the unknown. And so just don't overthink it. It's the way I'm moving forward, is I'm not going to overthink it. Um, the next point I was going to do is don't over ask people to stay. So I knew when I leave the location I'm at that I'm pretty much on my own. So for the first 2 months, I've had Jan down for a week. I am having my sister-in-law will be in for at least a long weekend. My Aunt Margie is supposed to come down for 2 nights. Christopher and Emma are going to hopefully come down for at least a weekend, if not a couple weekends. There's other people that are thinking about coming down and joining me for either a weekend or a couple of days or whatever. And that's perfect for where I'm at right now, because I knew this would be a transition between living on my own, starting to travel, and then actually being miles and miles and miles away. So the other thing is, I like the best part of being solo travel is if I get up today and I want to leave at 7 o'clock in the morning and come home at 10 o'clock at night, I can do it because it's just me. If I want to not do anything today and I want to take today as a filming day for my YouTube, then that's what I'm going to do. Or if today I get up and I decide I'm going to the coffee shop, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to edit and upload videos, and then I want to go home and walk on the beach and then take a nap. I can do that. If you have people with you all the time, you cannot do that. And so for me, the whole point of solo travel was to have that freedom to do what I want when I want to do it. Now, am I going to have people joining me? Yes. And I can't wait when they do. But for the most part, it's just going to be me. And so when I say to my friends or family that I'm going to be in a location, I also have to keep in mind, do I have one bedroom? Do I have two? Do I have, I don't know what they're called, but it's like everything's in one room. So I need to think about those things before I just automatically say, yes, you can come and visit with me. Come and fly out with me. I'll pick you up at the airport, whatever. That is the one thing I have learned that I need to be conscious of, and not always just say my house is always open, because sometimes it's not going to be, because there's only one bed or there's only one bedroom and it's not whatever. So kind of make sure you are, when you're inviting people, that you have the room for them to stay, unless you anticipate them staying somewhere other than with you. Have grace with yourself. This goes back to not overthinking it. Things are going to happen along the way, and you have to have grace. You have to be able to allow yourself to have that breakdown, or to have, or I need to sit down and have a crying jag right now, that kind of breakdown, because I'm missing my child, I'm missing my family, and whatever. Because there are going to be times, and I know that, and I'm prepared hopefully for that, but I also know that I have to give myself grace on those days when I'm not feeling it, and that I need to be able to take a step back and say, Wendy, it's okay. And going back to Christopher, he's going to have days when he just wants to call and hear my voice. And I'm going to have those days when I just want to call him and Chris and Emma and just hear their voice. And that's okay. And as long as I know it, then, and I'm not too hard on myself. And that's the thing, is I can't beat myself up over it. So I know it's going to be a transition, but I do know that I have to give myself grace. And this works with families that are traveling. When you're like, the happiest place on earth, Disney World, and you have children, they get tired, they get cranky. And yes, they don't want to do what you want to do, but you have to give them grace too, because they don't know how to channel it. So you have to take that emotion from them. And, if it's, oh, let's have a 5 minute of, let's go sit down, or let's go play hide and seek, or it's let's go, whatever, until they can kind of calm down and get themselves back together, because it's just as stressful on them. So this is another tip that can be done, not just for full-time travelers, but for anybody. Okay. utilities. No, I no longer have utilities, and um, my face is so red. Um, I no longer have utilities, so basically, I have my car insurance. Um, I have to pay for a place to stay. I have credit cards, but I try to keep a zero balance on those. So I need that's really it. And then so anything else I spend is just on food, places I go visit, things like that. So um I think because I was not turning on utilities at a new location, I forgot to turn off my utilities. So the day before the day of my move out, I was in panic and I had to call and say, "Can you release my water and electricity back to the apartment complex because I'm moving out?" Luckily, both of those could get it turned off within a day, 2 days. So there was nobody in my apartment. They had not released it yet. So everything worked out, but I think it's because normally I am so excited to move that I won't have water and electricity and internet and everything in my new location, that you do that, which means you have to cancel at your old place. But things like that just slip up once in a while and we just don't think about it. The other thing is your homeowners or renters insurance. Guys, I didn't do that either, and so these things just kind of slipped by me this time, and I think it was the excitement, and it was the rush, and it was the I don't have to do it somewhere else, so it wasn't in the forefront of my mind. So those are things you really need to write down, a list of things you need to do before you move out of your apartment or move into the next place. Now, this is the last thing I want to talk to you about. And this goes along with one of the other things that I said, like having a packing plan. So there was, let me see if it's in my planner because I have quotes listed down, and I know I had this quote for the longest time. Alrighty, guys, I didn't write it down. I'm looking in my planner, but it pretty much goes: when you're traveling, you lay out everything you're going to take with you, all your clothes, lay all your money out on the bed, and then go back and take half your clothes out and double your money. And then you can travel successfully. That's not a quote verbatim, but that's pretty much what the quote said. So, my last thought for you is lay everything out on and go through it one more time before you start your packing process. And that way you're not going to overpack. And that is what I did. I am remedying that now. And it's a really good rule of thumb if you're flying somewhere on a vacation, or like me, I'm going to be a full-time traveler. I don't need everything that I thought I did. And now I'm rethinking my whole packing. And before I leave here, I will have it down to what I actually used while I was here and what are the things that I really didn't need to bring. And then I will make a packing list so that I know moving forward what's on my list. And if I'm not using it in the next location, then it needs to go. And so I anticipate that I will cut down what I have packed in half. I'm hoping I can get it down 2/3. We'll see. That's going to be tough because I do have packing, filming equipment and that kind of thing that I need to take with me. And when I say that, it's not a lot because I have pared down to just the essentials that I need for when I'm filming. So that is my biggest tip, is look at what you're packing and what realistically you feel like you will use. I'm going to tell you, once I learned this quote, When I travel, I always only travel with a carry-on, and most places, even a lot of hotels, will have washer and dryers. And so if not, there's a laundry somewhere. And honestly, if you're just walking around town, you're not getting dirty. And so I will rewear my pants um two, maybe three times really. And then usually I will have enough tops to last for the whole. If I have four pairs of pants, I usually take six tops, um, seven, so that I have some. If I have an accident, I get caught in the rain, whatever, I have something extra. If I drop something on it, I have something extra to wear. But that is what I do. But this time, I didn't pay attention to this rule and I very much overpacked. Guys, I hope this helped you. I don't know if I'm just rambling and it makes no sense whatsoever, but I'm just saying I truly had a plan, but I didn't follow my plan. And I think part of that was I don't tend to stay in Airbnbs. So I really wasn't sure how much I really needed to pack and what would be here and what I was going to have to provide. So live and learn, and I learned, and I'm hoping to make it easier on myself packing, and I hope I give you a starting point if you're starting a new journey too. So guys, if you made it all the way through this rambling video, leave me a suitcase or a car or something down in the bottom. And until next time, guys, bye bye.